I've been wanting to talk about this one.
Me too.
Yes, so we are season three, episode three, House of the Dragon, and it is called Rhaenyra's Triumph. Rhaenyra Triumph.
Yes.
Triumphant. Triumphant. So we'll get into it real quick. Throw in your thoughts whenever you have them. We're here. We have Ormond and Daemon meeting, cold open.
Yes.
I, um, so fun to watch these two characters go at it. I
Yes.
like.
A chess match.
Yes, I really am kind of like really regretting when we do lose them. And like, if, again, anybody that thinks this is going to be a hero's journey story is like they missed the whole point of like
Exactly.
where this is going. Like, there is nothing that's going to happen that's great that's going to come out of this. Like, we are going to lose people. Um, Damon has the bastard writers backing him up. Basically, tells Ormond, "We don't need you. War's over. Go home." And I love how he says, "Live in peace with disgust." Like, because later we'll find out Damon cannot conceive of peace, of
Yes.
just ruling and there being peace. It's always conquering. But we'll get into that in a little bit with
I
another.
thought that was a great shot too with
Oh
the
yes,
the
three,
three dragon, is it four dragon? However many
three,
dragons.
and then there one on their side.
Yes. But I loved that shot of Daemon with no army, just the dragons, and then the high towers with an army. And it was almost like a silent, it was like a dialogue of what we've been talking about with these dragons and just being, for the most part, overpowered and all of that.
They're nuclear weapons. They
Yes.
are they are nuclear weapons, and you're having armies go up against the being able to press a button and explode all of you. Like, that's
Right.
so it's like, yeah. So I love when he's like, live in peace, and he lingers on that, as it's like I said, he just can't conceive
Can't
of
wrap his mind around
around
it.
peace, of like going home and just enjoying yourself. Like, he just
Yes.
can't do it. Ormond submits, I mean, pretty quickly. I think everybody should kind of be. I think every that should have thrown up red flags immediately for everybody watching. But Damon's like, "Oh yes," in his great Matt Smith way, like, is, "Oh,
Yes.
kind of forgot something.
Yeah.
I'm gonna need the kid. Like, we're gonna take him because you just can't have this kid on this dragon. He's an heir to the throne. We're gonna have to take him for."
Yeah.
And Ormond's like, "Okay." Again,
Didn't
should
see
have
this
thrown up
coming, but fine.
should have thrown up red flags. Anybody watching it, it should have thrown up red flags when the dragon did not squeal when he was being let out. I love all the memes that are going on online right
Yes.
now, as far as
Yes.
like with the dragon looking at him and then looking up like, "Who dat?"
Yes. Yes. Genuinely my favorite thing from the episodes was just the reaction of these different dragons. And yes, like it should have raised a red flag that the dragon was chilling, like, oh, there goes my rider. Whatever. Like, oh, hmm.
Right. And we'll get to it about how, like,
Yeah.
originally our theory was correct with the redhead being Darian, because eventually, again, they also showed that the red, like, if there's a really brief where the him walking up, he's got like dragon rider gloves on tucked into his belt, and this kid, you never see like him and have any kind of like allusion to like dragon riding in the least.
Yes.
The tapestry, oh, it has changed again, and this time it includes her taking King's Landing, but it also rips and
Yes.
severs. So like, this is a a hint of what is to come. Like, again, this is never going to be like, if anybody's looking for the Bronn hero's journey, Bronn shouldn't have been on the throne. Like, we'll get that's a different topic, but this is not going to. Again, this is going to be a Greek tragedy. This
Yeah.
is going to be a tragic story. If you want happiness, go to Night of Seven Kingdoms, and that is where you find your happy place. This is not it.
At all. Just
Right.
brief moments of like, oh, that's awesome, followed by, oh.
Oh, right. Rhaenyra's back in the castle, and we hear this constant like ringing, and kind of it just had a focused sound in the background. I have to say, this is probably one of my favorite scores as far as
I wrote that
throughout.
down. I wrote notes about it. I was like, the random gongs you hear that are seemingly out of place, but is supposed to make you, the audience, I think, feel uncomfortable
Sure.
when she's getting overwhelmed. It's you hear like echoes, not like ghostly echoes, but like the sounds of the people kind of like echoing and ringing,
Oh yeah.
the use of the violins. I literally wrote down notes and then said I loved this score.
It borders on kind of like a horror suspense movie,
Yes.
but it really does well to capture her mental break. Because again, this woman has lost both of her sons. Like she's lost an aunt or very close sister relative.
Hmm.
Targaryens, who knows? It could be sister, could be aunt, could be her grandmother for all we know. I don't know. But
A sister aunt.
right, she's losing lots of people. She's had a great injustice what she feels done to her. Like she's fighting against her half brother. Like mentally, it is starting to wear on her. And I think people who are complaining about not seeing Daenerys's break, like it came out of nowhere, even though she was melting people throughout that entire series. This should show you that it's wearing on her. This is
Yes.
not like
Agreed.
mentally, she is collapsing. She hasn't grieved properly, and every problem is being thrown at her at one time. So yeah, she wants a big coronation. Like she doesn't know yet that all the money's gone. She meets Darian, and the child doesn't obviously say anything. And I knew in the books that she gave birth to she gave birth to Jace at the same time that Alicent gave birth to Darian. So when she says you're younger than I thought, she is right because those two should have been of a comparable age. Jace, her
Mhm.
oldest, and Darren. So when she looks at him, she's just like, "You're a baby." Like again, all of these signals are being given to us that this is not the right
Yes.
child, but we don't really officially know until later. Damon's like, "You got to kill him."
Which I thought was funny because when he was talking to the Hightower group, he's like, "Oh, he'll be well taken care of." And I remember in that moment, I was like, mm, "Okay." Like not just because Damon isn't trustworthy, but more like he has to die just because he is
Right,
an heir to the throne. Like, and that was me trying to think rationally, not like
right.
Damon, but literally just like, and but he said that, and I was like, okay. And then he gets there and tells Rhaenyra, I'm like, oh, okay, so like he gets it.
Right. He's just like, listen, we can't have any loose
Yes.
branches on this
Yeah.
tree. Like there has to be at any point, like this kid can get of an age and then he can contest you, like and this let's just put an end to
The
it
cycle
now.
continues.
Right. The cycle continues. Orwell tells everybody the count or tells like the makeshift council right now that all the gold is gone. And she still wants a coronation. And Mysteria's like, it's not a great look. People are starving and you're wanting to throw a big party.
Great commentary. I felt I tweeted, I had said, all it took was an episode of House of the Dragon for us to realize that billionaires are not on our side, and we shouldn't be shilling for them.
Right. I mean, and yet,
Suddenly, when it's not like I would have thought if it was happening to us personally, we would have seen it, but it took an episode of House of the Dragon for people to be like, well, wait a minute, that's not fair.
right.
People are
Queens,
starving.
right. Queens shouldn't be having parties. And it's like,
Right.
you're right. They, like the whole wearing jewels and everything. Like eventually she kind of starts to get it. But she is basically is like, okay, well, the houses need to give us tribute then. Like they
Yes.
need to, like, we need to find money from somewhere. Like we need to start searching for the money and we need to give the houses need to pay tribute to us. They still don't know where Aemond is. She's wanting Aemond, Sheep Stealer, Vagar, everybody found. Rats are everywhere, and it kind of shows and it kind of symbolizes the rot coming up from the bottom. Like, even though it is over, there is an infestation still going on. Like, don't let any, like, everybody's like, oh, well, she took the throne. Everything's good and seen. And it's like, well,
And which
no,
is you kind of what she thought was going to happen.
right, exactly. But it's like the rats are kind of there to show you that there is still a rotting and a destruction going on, even though
Yes.
maybe not like right in your face like a dragon. It's the rats from the bottom and the sewers that are gnawing and just kind of ripping apart stuff. Um, yeah,
I
like
had a question about, well, everything that's going wrong since she took over.
sure,
I know based off quotes I've seen from people in Instagram, Twitter, wherever, they talk about how she becomes queen and doesn't do a great job. you having read the books, because in the show it's framed up as while she might not be doing a great job, a lot of the issues aren't her fault. Like they don't have gold. That's
Sure.
not her fault. The rats are there because they killed them all, trying to find the rat catchers. Like all of these things are piling up, and obviously it falls to her as the head. But the show has it framed up where she's, in a way, a victim of circumstance. In the book, were these things not her fault, or was she partially responsible?
I think it's like there is no one thing that you can look at and go, here it is. It's like she starts to get bad advice. She starts to make bad decisions. There are bad things. Again, the people were starving. There were no supply. Like the money was gone because guess what happens during wars? You know, I mean, like it was a
Yes,
whole bunch of things going on that kind of bring the breakdown of the fact that Aegon isn't dead, the fact that Aemond isn't dead. I mean,
yeah,
these are things that aren't going in her favor, but like she's so desperate to get in there and legitimize and just like let's just roll on with life as normal when life is not normal.
yeah,
And there's a whole difference between she got in a mode of conquering and was always in a I'm losing people, but we have to make our next move. And that conquering and ruling are two different beasts.
for sure. A
So
hundred
it's
percent.
like right. So it's a lot of everything that's going on. Like there's no like I said, there's no one cause. It's just going to be a lot of it's going to be several dominoes. Because again, the story isn't over.
Right. I
Like I said,
loved that it was, I loved the scenes of her walking down the steps because it took what should have been just a routine walk down the steps from one room to the next, where you'll be having a conversation with someone or you'll be talking to the Queen's Guard or whatever,
right,
turned it into you can't even walk from one room to the other
sure,
without being bombarded with questions and requests
right,
that are important. I know you're focused on
sure.
your coordination or trying to solve these other four problems, but I loved that it seemed like every time she tried to move throughout her castle, she was being attacked, and it was like a different form of warfare where like you're a prisoner in your own castle because the only way to avoid these responsibilities is to lock yourself in a room. And
Right.
even then, they're gonna still gonna bother you.
And I mean we're gonna get to his part in this a little bit, but Corlys as the hand should be handling this.
Yes.
His mind is a little elsewhere at the moment, and I mean we're going to get into that whole
Yeah.
debate of like there again this is going to be the whole two things can be right at the same time. But Corlys as the hand should be handling the day-to-day things of it,
Right.
and he's not there. And again we'll get into that in just a
Yeah,
second,
I
but
was not going to bring it up. I was going to ask you once we got closer to that. I made a choice to not bring that up.
oh yeah, no, we're gonna go when we get to it. We can get to it. So she basically confronts Allison and Helena about the gold.
That was
And they're
funny.
like, we don't know, you know, like she's like, you, I was barely involved in anything, you know, like now
Right.
you want all these answers. And um, Allison's the one that comes up with the idea of, hey, Aegon declared dead. She's like, he's malformed, he's scarred, nobody knows what he looks like. Just declare him dead and let's go on with this. And yes, because Rhaenyra rightfully calls her out. She says, even now you're trying to bargain for his life. And I wanted Allison to go, well, yeah, wouldn't you have? But I mean, like, obviously, she's not going to throw her dead sons in the
Right.
face. But I mean, like, of course she is. I mean, the same way as when Allison says, like you're eventually. So what we have to just basically wait around for is you to kill one of my sons, and then we can get out of this. And she was like, I can only imagine. And I thought it was good that she finally threw it in her face. Like, you haven't even said two words to me about the kids I've lost in
Yeah.
this
They,
thing.
they were throwing that in each other's faces, different things, and I thought that was a great scene. But I also liked Alicent's response when Rhaenyra is accusing her of all these things and bringing up, "Oh, you're trying to save your kid even now." Like, yes, she should have a right to bring up
Right.
her multiple dead kids. But I also like that Alicent responded with like, "You're accusing me of hiding this or doing this or doing this. Like, are you not back in King's Landing? Like, did
Who to
I
me?
not risk my life
Right.
coming to you, offering up my, telling you this kid is gone, offering up, I think was Aegon, and he just happened to run away before. Like,
Right.
you're in here because I sacrificed everything.
Everything.
So, like, I get that you're accusing me of XYZ, but like, Don't act like I
Back off.
haven't done
Right.
something for you. Like you're in King's Landing right now.
Right. And not dead because of me. Like nobody was shooting arrows at you
Right.
when you came in and you landed.
Yeah.
So all the green stuff is being destroyed. She sees Jace's ghost. It's clearly she's breaking down. Like
Yes.
again, she has not had a moment of peace since this whole thing has started. She has moments of where she's laying in bed grieving, but then she's interrupted by like Damon saying we got to get on with this. Um,
No days off.
no days off. She wants the staff questioned. She meets with the Septon, who denies her anointment and declares dragons basically to be a blasphemy against the gods, which is crazy that all of these people are speaking to her in the way. But I think they also sense like sharks with blood in the water. Like I think a
For
lot of them
sure.
sense she's not at the top of her game right now, or else why would they all be speaking to the queen like this? Either they
Yeah.
don't consider her the queen, or they don't consider still like they don't take a woman in that role seriously. But there's a lot of people.
There's a lot of, and I thought it was good foreshadowing with the Septon and talking about like the gods and you can't do this in the religion because obviously anyone
Sure.
that's watched Game of Thrones knows like that becomes a whole plot line.
Right.
But I remember watching that scene and thinking like, hmm, your head should be like just off your shoulders right now. Like right now,
Right. Like
talking to
thankfully,
the head of the Seven Kingdoms like that.
yeah, like thankfully Damon wasn't in this meeting with, like he
100%.
would have like before he would have finished his sentence, like he was
Yep.
always chopping heads off before people stopped speaking.
Right.
Like
Yeah. Mid
Corliss's
sentence.
brother, like
Yeah. Yeah. Right up there.
like just chopping off them sideways, chopping off heads, like oh,
Yeah.
keep your tongue. Yeah. So she has a sit down dinner with Corliss and he breaks the news that Adam and Alan are his kids and asks that they be legitimized. And she's like, like this is out of like, I mean, he's again, we will get into more of this because they have another confrontation, right or wrong. He's also like wanting, I maybe it's his brush with death that he's wanting to hurry up and put legitimate heir on his, on his throne. But I think it's kind of he does kind of forget about Bela.
Just a
Um,
bit.
just a bit, which we do see her later in the hall, and Rhaenyra walks by her and doesn't say anything. Yeah, it's just I think he kind of throws that at her, rightfully or wrongly, throws that at her out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Again, he should have been witnessing the fact that she's going through a lot of stuff as far as like the kingdom goes, where he should have been running that and answering these questions. He is like not anywhere to be found, and then kind of throws this at her. She can't sleep in her father's bed. She goes to Damon. She gets fitted for like I don't know something on, and basically they're debating. No, we can't wear jewels. That gives the wrong message. No, we can't wear your sword. That gives the wrong message. And then she gets her period, which I am kind of like I kind of appreciated that they put that in as far as a female goes. I It can be a double-edged sword with them introducing that because they can be like, oh, see, this is why she's crazy and she's breaking down. It's just her period, and this is why women are too emotional. But on the other hand, I think it shows a view of women do all this and then have this going on in their lives and are still expected to just be like anytime that somebody gets online, you need to look up the things where people hook up the period cramp simulators to men.
I was curious your thoughts on it because I know during the episode when that happened,
Mm-hmm.
Sarah was watching with me and she was like, "Oh, of course." And I was like, "Oh, what do you mean?" She's like, "Of course she becomes queen and this happens." Like she said, blanking on her quote, but she basically was like, "It's annoying that a woman finally becomes queen and that's the first thing that happens to her." And I was like, "Hmm, I see that." And then that's where I left it because I had no input. I
You're
didn't
like, I am
I
staying
had
away from this
nothing to
conversation.
say.
But no, I
I
see it.
like I
There's
thought
two.
it was interesting that they put it in there. I see what you're saying and I saw what she was
Sure,
saying.
I see
So I was
both
curious what you
ways.
thought. I had no opinion on it.
I can any way if any way that's attacked, I could argue the opposite. I could be
Yeah.
like, oh, like of course they reduced us down to like again with this the score that's going on, and clearly she's seeing things and she's just not right. But that's to me that's very it's not it is it's easy to have that response to it because as women we feel very defensive about that because anytime we act in a certain way it's always just blamed on that.
Right.
But let's remember, she lost her son. She's been conquering. She hasn't been legitimized. Family members are dying. Like, this is a lot of things that are happening within a few weeks period of time. And oh, yeah, she still has to do things that women do.
Yeah, to reduce it down to, oh, it was her time of the month and exclude literally everything else to me is
Right.
short-sighted, simple-minded, ignorant. You choose whatever word you want to put in there, but that's kind of my thought response to the people that I saw online that were saying like, oh yeah, like that's why she's hallucinating or this is why she's cracking. And I was like, wow, there's like
Yeah.
15 things I could think of that
And it
also might
doesn't help.
contribute.
Right.
Exactly.
And that doesn't help. Like, I mean,
Exactly. This is just added
where
on
it's
to it.
right. I mean, like that should, for any woman that it's like, that's there can be truly devastating things or truly like very stressful things. Be buying a house, you'd be buying a car, your kids, like somebody could be sick, a great, like, and we still have to deal with that to be like, well, like like you said, to reduce it down to this. Okay, but it's something that happens. Like we
Yes.
can't get away, and to ignore that is almost to do a disservice to women that are watching it because it's like, well, we're going to pretend like these women just never have that issue.
Right.
Well, like, wait a minute. Then you're making them fictional characters, and you're saying the only way that we can have and to make people comfortable with women in power or on screen and have storylines is if we take out that biological aspect of them. Like,
Right.
well, that's nuts because then they're saying that's an entire different like. Then you're just kind of making us eunuchs. Like, right. I mean, like,
Yeah. Yeah.
you
No, that
like
make I see what you're saying. Yeah.
like I mean like
That
to
makes
just
sense.
kind of like cut out that part of what we experience in life is weird to make other people comfortable watching women on TV. So it's
Yeah.
like that's because it's like it's nobody's fault. It's just like it's biology. I'm sorry that like that may make people uncomfortable, but like that is the realness of it. So it's like,
Yeah.
but basically, she hears that the nobles have hoarded the supplies. She again, we fast forward to there's the small council is debating it, and Damon's always like, just this is what rich people do. The poor people just need to get. he's very, he's very just non. Again, he's not a ruler, and this should show everybody, regardless of what you think about Rhaenyra on her period. Damon was not the correct choice.
100%. He is at his core
A conqueror.
exactly. I was going to
Yes.
say a fighter, a conqueror.
Yes.
He is a conqueror. He is not a leader. Had he been next in line after Viserys' son died, king for a day or prince for a day, and he took over, again, we could make a Game of Thrones what if episode, but
Right.
like things would not have been great because even though he has seen so much of how different people rule, he still doesn't get it. And he is always self-serving. He's
Sure.
always thinking of the next conquest. And even as we move on in this episode, the castle is legitimately falling apart. And this man's like, you know what we need to do? We need to sail across the sea and go conquer over there. Like,
Right.
what?
Yeah. And like, yeah, we're gonna get to that. Yeah, because it was so like, yeah. Because I have thoughts about his response to what then she has to say. Like, it was just so she meets the bastard riders, knights them, and at that moment she tells everybody else like, "Hey, what do you want to be called?" But she never asks Adam, and she's just
Yeah.
like Adam of Hull, and like
Yep.
basically kind of denies him his legitimacy right then. Right then, I think is the key word, but that's enough for later.
Yeah.
Hugh asks for him and his wife to be taken care of, and we find out that she's in Tumbleton, which we find out later what's going on with that.
Yes.
Allison comes to her and tells her, basically they have kind of a heart to heart of like, you can't be the same person doing this job. Like you are going to have to check part of yourself. Like this, you can't be fair and kind and people pleasing and everybody like you. You're going to have to make hard choices that are going to leave some people suffering. Like this is, and it's kind of true because she really, up until the point where she had to cut off Otto's head, she all those decisions had kind of been made for her. Like
Yeah.
Jace had been riding into danger. Damon had been riding, like gathering, and she's kind of been kind of closed off in Dragonstone. And so now she's out there and she's having to make these decisions and really really uncomfortable with having to take the any more lives on this. And basically Allison's telling her like, dude, there's no way around this. This is the way it's going to happen, and your father was living in a fantasy land. Like,
Yeah, I love
and
that
we're all
she
suffering for it.
exactly. She tried to say, well, my dad didn't. Well, A, your dad was ruling during peacetime, but also Allison rightfully said, like, he lived in a world of his own desire. I forget what she said exactly, but she
Yeah.
basically was like, yeah, but we're all suffering because of that. And I thought that was good. I thought, I don't know if you ever watched the show Veep. I feel like I've brought it
Okay.
up before, but Julia Louis-Dreyfus is the vice president in the show. And at the beginning of the show, you see her want to make all these good decisions and help everyone. But as the show continues, you see that she learns that you can't please everyone, and her advisors constantly reinforce that. But throughout the show, you get to the end, and on that journey, she becomes a terrible person, a full-blown politician. But it's just, yeah, you see like where you start and where you finish as a ruler, like part of you has to die, and like it's just that's the reality. And I can't speak enough about the dialogue that they have in this show, which bugs me about what I've seen people saying about this episode. But I think their conversations for every season, when they sit down and have a real heart to heart, some of the best scenes in the show.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Like, absolutely. It's they're doing the most with a character that really isn't in this part of the story.
Yeah,
Like, so I mean, like, they're doing the most, and people are going to have to just kind of wrap their heads around like, this is not going to be a word for word adaptation the way the Night of Seven Kingdoms is. And like, that can be good or bad,
yeah,
but it is what it is right now, and just judge it on the merits of the show, and if there's plot holes and things that don't make sense on its own, judge it like that, not against the book, because we're getting allusions to things in the book, and we're probably going to have like still the same path, but just kind of the way we get there is going to be different,
for
which just
sure.
people just need to accept that. She has the nobles over, because her idea is to have a banquet, and she serves them rats and then basically tells them, and we're raiding your house for supplies. Like, I personally love the fact that when they're watching at the balcony and Damon's like enjoying it, he's like, I gotta tell you, like, even though this is not a long-term plan, I find this highly amusing. This is the he's like, you're speaking my language. I love
Right.
evilness and like give it sticking it to people. So love this, but this is not a long-term plan, but we need to look bigger and keep conquering because we are gods and we need to think of ourselves as gods. And she's like, yo, my dad basically said we can't depend on dragons, that that's a power that's out there, and that we need to respect the small folk, like you need to respect the small folk, which does come to fruition later in this story when the small folk target the dragons. That as powerful as the dragons are, they are going to, in the book, I can only say on the book, in the book, they're brought down by a group of them are brought down by these small folk. So it's the whole 100 men against the gorilla.
Exactly.
But like, that's what she's kind of saying is like,
Yeah.
listen, my dad always said, like, hey, you got to respect, like, even though we have these dragons, and it is she's playing like the middle ground between the Septon who thinks they're a complete, blasphemy against God, and Damon who thinks makes them gods. And she's kind of like been raised by, obviously she was raised by her father who believes like, yeah, like we got to maneuver this middle ground somewhere, because
Yeah.
one, we can't always depend on the fact that we've got them. And
Sheep
two,
Stew have proved that.
Sheep Stealer proved that. We can't always, like, and now also the thing she's kind of also like, and they are bonding with people. I mean, bastards. Yes and no. I mean, these people still have ties to
Yeah.
Valerian and Targaryen blood, so it's not 100%. It isn't just randos. Even though in the book, Nettles is the only rando that bonds with a dragon.
Oh, so
Um,
Nettles doesn't have any royal blood. Okay.
no,
Gotcha.
no. So that's they kind of take out that part with having Rhaenyra be not Rhaena be
Reyna.
yeah be the sheep
Gotcha.
stealer. So like now we're still kind of keeping on the thread that you have to have some a tie to them.
Right.
So yeah, I and they have this conversation and she's just like, can we settle things here before we look out there? And he's like, your grace, and storms off. And I thought, oh, you're such a baby.
He truly is. And yeah, again, I think that was a very important scene, but it reinforced what we've seen all three seasons that, like you accurately said, he is a conqueror,
He
not
is
a
a
leader,
conqueror.
not a ruler. He is a conqueror. Ultimate weapon. You want him on the front lines.
Sure.
They've shown that throughout the series as well.
A hundred
But
percent.
just because you can run fast and fight good, well, doesn't make you a good leader, which, I mean, I learned that in the military because in order to get promoted, you just had to pass the fitness test. And I was like, oh, great, you can do a bunch of push-ups.
Right.
But it's
Right.
cool. But yeah, again, that is proven with him again. And it truly, no matter how much we like him or his character or again, people talked a lot of different things about him online, but the one thing they said is he was for the whole war, he was like the one character that never lost sight of like we need to win this war.
Sure.
And it's true because at his core, he is a conqueror.
That's right. He'd make a quite great Kingsguard for her,
Oh, 100%.
but like that's what his role like he
Yeah.
it would be very difficult to have him on the council because he'd always be like, screw the little people and let's kill everybody. Like
Can't have him
anybody
on the
that looks
council. He can't be the hand. Like his peak needs to be Kingsguard or just army leader of the army. Like
right.
that is your ceiling.
Right. And as he storms off, he's like, still need to cut off the kid's head.
That was funny. I laughed out loud at that one.
She creeps in on the kid and basically she's just looking at a child. And I think she's still at the point of like, there's so many babies losing their lives over this kind of thing. She goes out into the city with Masari to hand out supplies. It's kind of like an unofficial anointing of her as
Yes.
queen. And she does it in front of the church with the septons and the what are the ladies called? I guess
Oh,
those are the septons too.
yeah, the
Septas.
Septas.
But she does it in front of the church, but they're all looking over the balcony at her and kind of like she does that right in front of them, even though she was denied officially by them. She's kind of like, well, I'll show you. I'm just
Yeah.
going to go out and meet with the people right in front of you. And what are you going to do now? So this is when she then has her confrontation with Corlys over, and he confronts her over not legitimizing her sons. And she's like, I can't do it right now.
Yeah.
And he's like, listen, I have served you. I've never asked you for anything. And this is where you can make a case again, a case for both. He says, I have never asked you for anything. I have been losing stuff left and right. This is all I want. Like I haven't asked you for one thing, which is he is 100% true. He's 100% right in this.
Yep.
And I think if she would have said to him, listen, I can't do it right now. Let things settle down for a bit. And when give it this month, and I will absolutely do. I think him being the kind of sailor and kind of soldier he is would have taken her at her word and said, okay. But she never gives him that kind of answer. She's just like, he can see that she's more scared of the impact it's going to have on her remaining son, Joffrey, than how it's affecting him right now.
Right.
And again, you can argue both ways. Like, Corlys, what are you doing? Like, can you just settle down for a second? Like,
Right.
this is
Look
not
around.
look around at everything falling apart right now. Like, take a breather, let her get her feet underneath her, and then come to her with like, don't be like, do this. I've never asked you for
What
anything, but
about me? Yeah.
now that I have, like, give it to me now. Like
Yeah.
that's so. I mean, like I can.
I agree with you 100%. I do also feel like, yes, it's a pot calling the kettle black situation. While she wasn't judging his kids, it's like if she had said not right now, but because she didn't explicitly say that, it comes off as, well, I don't know. And it's like, I know you're not talking, right? Like,
Right.
and obviously he kind of goes off the deep end and starts talking real reckless, which again, what he said was true.
Root
Had
was
Damon
true.
been there, he wouldn't have said it if Damon was there. But like, here's the thing. You just decided to start being a present father like 5 minutes ago. Like
Thank
it's
you.
like this is like the water boy and it's draft day now. Now you want to come back into their life and be all like come on, man. You're not wrong, but read the room. But also, just because you now want to show up after I don't know, Adam looks like he's 30 or 40, but after decades, and now
Right.
everything has to be on your timeline. And yes,
Right.
you have lost uh, your kingdom, all your treasures are gone, and you lost a large part of your navy and your ships. Like, I get it. You're looking around like, I have sacrificed everything. You're not wrong. And you deserve all of the praise for that, and you should have your bastards legitimized. But and yes, it is interesting that she is the one to like pump the brakes on it. But we're not working on your timeline. The kingdom is legitimately crumbling, and you're begging for this. Damon saying, "Let's go conquer the other parts of the like the people that are supposed to be kind of helping her plant her feet are trying to pull attention elsewhere." And yeah, I like you said, both two things can be true.
100%. I agree with you. 100% was like, like you're fast tracking your mistake that
Yeah,
you ignored for 30 years. Like
yeah,
you're trying to like speed legitimize kids that you denied up until like a week ago,
right.
maybe a week ago. Like, hey, like right before my wife died, she was cool with it, so I'm wanting you to be cool with it. And how about you legitimize him? I'm gonna give him my throne. How about it's like calm down. Like
Yeah,
these kids, like just a little while, like you basically told them like I didn't want anything to do with you because I was too I basically I was ashamed of you, so I didn't
yeah.
want anything to do with it. But now that I've gotten over that, I
And like you
need
said, maybe it was his brush with death, but like regardless of what is motivating it,
right.
now is not the time.
No,
And while you made solid points, while you were not wrong about what you said, we are not working off your timeline
right.
because you decided in the last week to be a present parent.
Right. Like we can't fast track this for you.
Yeah,
Like look around. There are other things that are going on right now that like, and yours is at the back of the line. Yours is
yeah,
not a pressing issue at the moment, especially if I think the war is over. I'm not like, I'm not worried. Like, even though rightly or wrong, like we know the story, we know
yeah,
that the story isn't over. But right now they're thinking that there's not going to be any outside of the high towers. There's not going to be much more killing going on. So like settle down here. Like you still have, and she might be like, you still have Bela. Like, let's calm down on this. Like my
yeah,
kid was going to be the one, like your kid, our kids were going to be ruling Driftmark. And now you're like booting her to the side. And I was booted to the side.
yeah.
And it's like, oh, yeah. So I think it's a very interesting conversation. He got real bold,
Real
and
bold.
real loud in
Yeah.
public. In
In
public.
public, which makes it 10 times worse because at least with the Septon, it was in the Great Hall, but there was nobody else there.
Right.
Like, you're to the point where the Gold Cloak was even like, hey, bro, like,
Right.
I might have to kill you right here.
Right. Like, let's pump the bread. This is like, I don't know. He's kind of like, I don't know what to do. She's just taking this. Like, she's not
Yeah.
telling me to chop his head off. Yeah. So, very interesting conversation with them. I do know that there is going to be more of a fraction with them between them as this goes on. And I think they're just kind of showing you how that's happening.
Yeah.
We see her talk to Alicent. Oh, she tells Alicent she has Darren and that she's basically, I'm going to send him to the wall. Which is, I think, a pretty fair plan. I mean, again, still kind of risky to send off an heir to the wall. But again, you can see she's just not wanting to kill anybody. She just does not want to.
And
Um,
Allison responded how any mother would, but this is going back to their previous conversation where they're both kind of like making solid points of like, did I not do everything I said I would do to let you get in the wall? But now, regardless of past friendship, regardless of, well, you killed my father, like, yeah, like I realize that members of your family have a member of your family has died, and now a second one is either dying or going to the wall. You're all upset and you're trying to call back like years of friendship, but like Allison, you have to understand while you guys may, I don't even want to say friends, but acquaintances at this point, we're still in the middle of a civil war. Even if we're at the back end of it, you have to realize, and we're not saying you have to like it, because again, those are your
yeah,
children, but you have to see that she's not just like bloodthirsty. I want to kill something. I want to
right.
banish somebody. Like there are real reasons, legitimate
Yes,
reasons for the things that she is saying to you, and all like. And again, you don't have to like it, but to sit here all shocked and confused, like I can't believe you would do that. Really?
right.
Really?
Like let's go over that because you could have stopped this at any point. We could have not gotten to this like you and I had a sneaky talk where you realized you were wrong and you
Yep.
still went through with this. So
Yep.
you need to like you need to calm down just a little bit. Be like
Or
you
just
need to
ask her,
back
like, what did you expect to happen? Did you
right.
expect that you would open the gates, all of that, and then we'd give you a cottage and we'd give you Harrenhal and you guys just like in your mind, how was this going down? Like you had to know that your father, your sons, like you had to know that they probably were not going to live. And honestly, probably neither you or Helene. Like the fact that you guys are sitting here casually talking and she's
I'll leave
willing
it
to
to
let
you.
you guys leave eventually is I
Right.
don't say more than you deserve, but like that's best case scenario.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So basically, what we happen is Rhaenyra is with who she believes is Darren, and she calls Allison in. And Allison, as soon as she looked at him and looked at it, I was like, "Oh, here we go! Like this
Yes.
is." She just looked at her and was like, and then walked into the room, and I thought, that is not her kid. That is she because she looked at her like how long are we gonna play this game? And I
Right.
thankfully she let on that it was not hers. I mean, she could have tried to carry on Ormond's lie and been
Yeah.
like, "Oh, dear," like,
My
thank God. But
boy,
right, like
you've
she
grown. I
she
barely recognize you. Wink,
right,
wink.
she caves pretty fast. Like
Yeah.
Rhaenyra's like, "Is this your kid?" And she's like, "No, like this is crazy. This is," and they figure out that they basically Darren's still with Ormond and that he's playing a game and he's keeping this fight, which has to unnerve Allison because once again I again two arguments could be made. I do like showing that it's like on one hand when she does make that comment like how are you going to keep holding me responsible for all the things that men do?
Yeah.
This is another one of those instances. Like she's doing what she can, but the men outside of her realm are uncontrollable, which again is good and bad. Like you could be like, well, see, this shows you how weak women are, and or it could be like, look, they'll take advantage of you of every second. So it's like, yes, I get the like, oh, making her look weak and like a victim to all these men that are doing everything. But again, remember, she's really not in the book at this point. So
Yeah.
we've got to make right or wrong, you got to give her something.
You
And
got to
right
give her some
now,
credit that again, she did what she said she would do, letting Rhaenyra in, and when she noticed the deception, she spoke on it immediately, which
right,
again should show Rhaenyra, while your guys' friendship is very
tenuous.
tenuous,
Yeah.
she is not against you.
No,
She is doing her part and she is trying to end the violence that she is partially responsible for.
right.
So yes, like I know, like, but again, Rhaenyra is getting hung up on you're trying to save your kid's life. Like, oh, am I trying to be a mother? Like,
So sorry. Like,
yeah,
don't know where that came from. Pity, poor me.
right.
Basically, we get a dragon keeper that has escaped from Tumbleton, saying that Ormond has basically taken the people hostage, and that he's kind of continuing this fight. And she's like, "Easy peasy, we're just going to swoop in, we're going to burn everybody." And the Dragon's Rider's like, these are your people. You can't just be like setting on fire everybody that gets in your way, which
Yeah.
again was very kind of Damon like in her answer. But the guy is like, time out. There's innocent people there. This is not going to play well. And this, we're, that's kind of letting us know that when we had Hugh talking about his wife in Tumbleton earlier, this is kind of foreshadowing that there is going to be a break with the bastard dragon riders that she has in her camp right now, that this is not going to last because something obviously is going to happen that is going to have him defect,
Yes.
and go to the green side. And the fight is not over yet. That as much as the women want it to be, and they're trying to move on and trying to find the best solutions possible, that the fight is continuing. So yeah, that's where we leave it right now.
I
Thoughts?
thought I thought it was a really good episode. This is another episode where we didn't get a bunch of action, but I'm okay with it because seeing the, I guess you could call it fallout of Rhaenyra's ascension to the
Right,
throne was extremely important and extremely well done. It showed how she got what she wanted, but she is still suffering from everything it took to get there on her end. And you see that with just mentally breaking her down and emotionally breaking her down. But also the people that came before her that killed all the rat catchers, that
right,
didn't have food for people, which kind of is Rhaenyra's fault because of the blockade. But like all of you see all of that laid out in this episode. And again,
right.
even though there were no beheadings or fires or wars, battles being fought, it still wasn't a very full episode.
Yeah, because it's dealing with the actual consequences of the actions that have been going on. It isn't that she just swoops in, sits down on the throne, and everything's, it's done. It's
Yeah.
here we're going to allude to again, like you said, the rat catchers that were hung because Damon chopped off the kids, the
Yeah.
Helena's son's head. Like the rat catchers were hung. Now there's rats overrunning everything. And because of her blockade, yes, she did sneak food into them, but the nobles started hoarding stuff and keeping away from making the common folk suffer. Now we've got a whole bunch of dragons in one area and they're eating all the sheep and they're burning them before they can be fleeced.
Yeah.
It's like, and then because the dragons all need to be fed, there isn't enough meat now for the common. Like, it's good in showing that there are, like, instead of not dealing with the consequences of these things that happen, it's very good in showing like these kinds of things can have a brutal impact upon one's reign, that it doesn't necessarily have to be all head choppy and armies and fighting, that the little things, it can be a death by 1,000 cuts.
Yes.
And this is what she's going to experience because in the book, and I know that they kind of allude to it because you see her fingers cut, at one point. I think she's like gripping the table or something like that,
She's
and
yeah.
yeah, grip it, and you see her fingers cut. In the book, they talk about that, um, she's cut when she sits down on the throne, and that in their belief and their superstition about that is if the throne cuts you, it deems you not worthy to rule and not reign. And I wonder if they'll talk about that, like if they'll press onto that later because, um,
They made a point to show Viserys getting cut.
right,
And
right,
with her, I didn't see the cut, but I saw her rubbing her when she was on the throne talking
right,
to the peasants about their issues. You saw her finger rubbing against it, which I
right,
thought we were going to see like a cut. Maybe they're like building up to it, where like in
right.
the next episode. But I wondered about that too because yeah, I think it's
Yeah,
common knowledge that if you get caught on the throne, it means you're not worthy.
right. So I do think right now the metaphor of being there's a death by 1,000 cuts just is all the problems that she's having, that one stacks upon another. It's not like, oh, well, we can just solve this by going hunting. Like, nope,
Yeah.
there's certain things you can't hunt. Okay, well, now we can only get rabbits and stuff, and that's going to run. But and we can't eat the sheep because the dragons eat the sheep and they need the food. So it's like it's everything, every decision she makes affects another. And like I said, it's just going to kind of go in a bad direction for her soon. I like the episode. Like I said, I think the score made a good episode even more amazing.
Yes.
because again, it was very haunting. It was very horror suspense like, very intense, made you feel unnerved, uncomfortable, kind of squirmy, like this is all just very like icky. I don't like
Yeah.
this. Like what is going to happen? So yeah, was grateful for it in the break of action.
It currently has an 8.4 on IMDb which is the lowest so far.
Sure.
But it's got way less reviews. So
Okay.
episode 1 is 9.2 with 47,000 reviews. Episode 2 is 9.4 with 37,000 reviews. This one is 8.4 with 15,000. So it's 1 point lower than the last episode with like a third of the amount of reviews.
And it
I
really
don't,
comes into just people just don't like talking episodes. And I know that's
I hate that.
I know
I
I
hate
hate it too, but
that.
it's one of those things where like people just want the fighting
Yeah.
constantly all the time. They want dragons to be doing things and flying around and weirdness to be happening. But I mean, hopefully it'll go up as time goes on. Um, yeah. So
It's yeah, and I don't want to sit here and like hate on the people that feel that way, although I'm judging you. But yeah, it's you look at everything that happened in this episode and all of the callbacks to things that happened in previous episodes, like, the blockade and people not having like they brought in so many things from previous episodes, but also kind of laid the groundwork for so many things that are going to happen. And for that, I think it was a great episode. Then
yeah.
you add the score. I think you said it perfectly. The score added to what was already an amazing episode.
Yes, it really did help elevate that completely. Yeah, so that's where we're at. It's pretty good. I can't wait for the next episode.
Yes.
Yeah, so we're gonna leave it there and we're gonna talk to y'all